Hey guys, Patrick here with Rouse Motors. We've just got in our next big project, a 64.5 Mustang Coupe. We found this car in Bismarck, North Dakota, and we paid a shipper to get it all the way here to Arkansas. It was a little bit of a logistical challenge. We learned the hard way that shippers don't really like to go to Arkansas, so it took us a while to find somebody that was willing to do it. We got a gentleman to do it, and he got it here. It pulled in at 12:30 this morning. We've got a little bit of sleep, and now we're ready to start tackling into it. I'm going to give you a tour of the car. We're going to look through it. It needs some work. It's definitely going to get a new interior. It's going to get a little bit of motor cleanup and probably some transmission work. We know very little about it right now. We bought it sight unseen from a reliable source that we knew. So we were able to get some somewhat accurate information about it. And when it arrived, we noticed right away that there's problems, and you can absolutely expect that in a 50-year-old car. When we tried to take it off the trailer, when we put it in gear, it's still rolling. So there's some clutch or some transmission problems, so we're going to look into that and see what's causing that. And right away, within 10 minutes of getting it off trailer in the garage, I noticed that one side of the driver's side rear frame was rusted all the way through. So we're going to have to replace that entire frame rail. This is a unibody, so we're going to have to replace that section. So we have some cutting and welding ahead of us. We definitely have some cutting and welding to do in the trunk, right above where that frame rail was, which that is rusted out, and that's okay because we would have to pull that pan out anyway in order to replace that frame rail. So that is as far as we've gotten with this. So I'm sure we have a whole lot more problems than that to find, but we'll find them and we will fix it and we will get this car back on the road. So without further ado, let's take a video tour of this car, get started, and see what we have in store for us. Alright guys, here it is, 64.5 Mustang Coupe. Just backed into the garage this morning. So we're going to get a video tour of it here, and we already know we have a lot of work to do, you know, but for the most part, what I can see as of right now, everything's straight. The door panels all aligned, the body's straight. As I mentioned before, I have some frame work to do, so that'll be a big project, but very necessary. And we want to make sure that this thing is 100% safe and roadworthy. That's our #1 priority. We don't want to build one of these halfway and just hope it's okay. We want to do it the right way the first time, make a great car for many more years. So it has original paint in it, looks like. It is very dusty, but I am really thinking that this is going to polish up real nice. We haven't decided yet whether we're going to repaint it or we're going to keep the original paint. I really want to keep the original paint, but we do have a lot of little chips, so we would have a lot of fixing to do. There's just a lot of dings and scratches. So I think my first plan of attack, I just really think I'm going to polish it up and see what it looks like and see if it's worth fixing the scratches and or if it will need to be repainted. But there's something to be said about a 50-year-old paint job. I'd love to leave it. So we'll see how it polishes up. But before we even touch this paint, we're going to take care of mechanical issues, structure issues, and make sure that everything is solid. And at that point, we'll determine how much money we have into it and how much room is left in the car for things like paint jobs. So the side, everything's real straight. There is not one dent on this 50-year-old car. So you know, that's a huge bonus. Come around the back side here. All the trim's there. All the glass is in good shape. And all the seams line up exactly like they should. It's got some road grime. It came on an open top carrier. This door, it actually would close all the way, but the latch is missing 2 of the screws and the third one isn't the right one. So I'm pretty confident that once I get that tucked back in there how it's supposed to be, that this door will close how it's supposed to. So, but in the meantime, it doesn't matter because we have bigger fish to fry in this car. We do have, the only major external rust I see is on this door, and you can see it's poking out, so that will have to be addressed, and we will. But other than that, emblems are here, everything's here. So let's take a look at the interior. All right, so I know the lighting's not the best, but we're going to show you what we can. The interior is pretty much roached. As in any old Mustang, that dash pad is cracked in multiple places, so we'll definitely replace that dash pad. We're going to replace the carpets. We are going to replace both front and back seats. We're actually going to determine if we can have them reupholstered. If we can, we'll just reupholster them. If we can't, we'll get new seats. It has the original door panels in it. This one is been taken off, but it is in the back seat. So we might change the color on the inside. So if we do that, I will be replacing those door panels too. So, but a lot of work on the interior. The headliner, it's a major bummer because the headliner is in great shape for the most part, except somebody had a clip-on mirror on that sun visor, and that ripped the headliner right there. So, looks like we're getting a new headliner. But other than that, it's solid. From what I can tell, floorboards are all very solid. So if I don't have to weld in floorboards, that's fine by me too. But if I do, that's part of restoring a 50-year-old car. So let's take a look at the trunk. All right, guys, here we are at the trunk. It is overall in decent shape for a 50-year-old car coming out of North Dakota. I'm not sure if North Dakota still uses sand, but Minnesota used salt, North Dakota used sand back all the way up until I know for sure 2000s. So the North Dakota cars are still bad because of the snow and ice and all that stuff, but not as bad as the Minnesota cars. But this one definitely has the typical northern rust in a 50-year-old car. The back, you can see it has solid metal here, and the wheel wells are in good shape and very structural. But where the major problem lies is right here. So here it is rusted all the way through. I can see the floor. Underneath this pan here is the rear frame rail, and that frame rail holds the leaf spring, or supports the leaf spring. So that frame underneath, and we'll get you under there as soon as we get the car lift and show you what we're working with, but that frame rail is rusted all the way through, and right now this car is not roadworthy. And I don't want to just patch that rail like a lot of people do. I want to replace that whole frame rail and make sure that this car will go another 50 years plus. You know, so we're going to definitely have to cut out this drop pan, and we are going to have to weld in the new frame rail and then weld in a new drop pan. But other than that, the other side of the spare tire bolted. I haven't even had this car long enough to look at that frame rail. I just opened the trunk, saw this, poked my head underneath, noticed that frame rail was bad. So if the other one's even remotely near that one, we're going to do that one too. So while we have it up, might as well get them both. So here's the trunk, overall decent shape. All right, here we are under the hood. Nothing sexy about these straight 6 Mustangs, but surprisingly it doesn't decrease the value as much as you'd think. So I still pick them up, and I'm still excited to work on this one. There'll be lots of room in this engine bay to work on. So far it hasn't dripped a drop of oil, so that's good. We have yet to hear it run. We got to get a battery in it, and I really want to go through it, make sure the gas is good, make sure everything's set on that. But I do want to hear it run before I get going, because I want to assess what kind of budget I need on this. I want to know if I need a new motor or major engine work. So the next couple days we'll probably get a battery in it and try to fire it up, but we'll keep you tuned for that. So for this classic car, I'm pretty sure we're going to do a soft restoration on it. My partners on this car and I haven't discussed a direction yet, and we're going to once we can all meet and really come up with a game plan. But what I mean by soft restoration is I don't want to do the typical frame off, touch every nut and bolt. I just don't think there's enough meat in the bone on this one or a time schedule to do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to make this car as nice as we possibly can on a somewhat tight time frame, and we're going to try to build a one heck of a 50-year-old car out of that. So stay tuned and watch this thing come back to life. Thank you for watching Rouse Motors. It's Patrick.